our most anticipated games for Gen Con 2025. Thank you for joining us at Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Melissa Duff.
And I'm Kevin Duff. Today we're talking about board games that we're anticipating at Gen Con 2025. Today's video is in three main categories. The first one is going to be games that we're anticipating that we haven't played yet. Then we'll move into games that we played that we're excited about, and then some honorable mentions at the end of the video. So, this is the 5th time we've done this video.
There's a lot of them. A lot of anticipations for Gen Con.
I actually thought we had started before 2021, but 2021 was the first time we've ever done a most anticipated for Gen Con.
Wow. I did not know that stat at all. I also would have thought
guessed?
It had been longer.
Yep. Well, let's get started with our number 10.
Okay, so we're starting with my number 10
Yep.
most anticipated game. This is one that we have not played, and this is Flip Tunes, and it's going to be available at the Thunderworks Games booth. This is a deck building game for 1 to 4 players that plays in about 30 minutes. And basically the cards are different animated characters, and you're trying to audition and build your group of actors, characters, and you're going to flip 6 out on your turn, and then they all kind of interact and score different ways. After that, you'll have opportunities to buy new characters into your deck or, let some go because they just aren't fitting your troop. So I thought that was kind of an interesting mix.
So you're trying to get the best sort of tableau?
And I don't know how thick your deck is going to be.
Okay.
And I believe you only flip 6 during the round. So
Not
you
flip
might...
7.
Right. So which is another good game. So you might not flip everything in your deck, potentially. Again, I haven't played, so just intrigued by the concept, and I love cards that score off of other cards and trying to create combos and synergies.
All right. Mine is Sprocketforge. This is coming from Sophisticated Cerberus Games. Now, this is actually distributed from Flat River, and Flat River is the company that actually sent us, because Flat River has a bunch of different imprints that they are able to distribute. So this one looks really interesting. It's for 1 to 5 players, takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play. This game has these like cogwheels that are going on your player board. It sort of reminds me of is it Gutenberg?
That has the
wheels that are turning. This one, I always like little bits that are like doing things on your board. It's not just placing on your board. So I like it when you're like, oh, if I turn this, then this wheel's turning. And it seems like you're collecting mana. You're trying to create the most efficient system, which I like in games. So sort of like this, I don't want to say engine building, but there's this engine that you're sort of producing in your own on your player board, and it said that the point of the game is to create the most efficient system. So I was like, efficiency, like cogs, all that. It's got a, maybe a steampunk theme, which looks pretty cool too.
Okay, yeah, sounds interesting.
So that is Sprocketforge. Check that one out.
Number 9.
So Melissa and I were about to sit down and record this video when my number 9 actually showed up on the doorstep. So it's still in the category of most anticipated, haven't played yet, but it is Railroad Tiles from Horrible Guild, and they sent us the retail version. This is for 1 to 4 players, takes about a half hour to play, but they also sent us
that's a big box,
the collector's edition, and it appears that there are a lot of expansions that you can get for this game. I should back up a little bit and rewind and say Railroad Tiles is based off of a very popular game from Horrible Guild called Railroad Inc.
That's a roll and write.
Yeah, I like that roll and write game. It was really enjoyable to play, and they've now sort of made a standalone tile laying game that maybe has some of that same feel, but is not roll and write.
Right. We haven't played it yet. That's why it's on this list, but maybe today
maybe today we'll play it. And like I said, there's a lot of it has all the expansions in the back here.
It shows them.
So here are a few of them: forest expansion, lakes, canals, energy, monuments, countryside, desert, and something about a world expansion. So lots of expansions. So if you're like, I don't know which ones are best yet, wait for our video. Hopefully you'll see which one are the better expansions. But you can get the base one, and then maybe like, I just want a couple of the expansions, or maybe you want to get everything, collector's edition. But we will say this is going to be available on the Horrible Guild's website July 24th, so we'll probably after or before this video even gets put on our YouTube channel. So check out their website, horribleguild.com, so that you can see what's available. And I think they also said
they'll have some at Gen Con.
So if you'll be at Gen Con, you can pick up a copy there or check out their website. What about you?
So my number 9 is not nearly as massive as this one. It's a card game, Up or Down, and this is being published by Capstone Games. It's for 2 to 6 players, plays in about 30 minutes, and it has an interesting drafting where you're like playing a card from your hand and then taking an adjacent card from the middle. But the goal basically is to create columns of either ascending or descending numbers. Reminds me a little bit of Ohanami, I think.
Yeah.
But it looks beautiful. They've done a great job with the art and the colors, and it seems like it's going to fall into that pretty simple to teach and play, plays up to 6, and that really hits our game group right now.
Yeah.
6 players in those games that are interesting and still challenging, but don't take a lot of time to play.
I actually was going to put this on my list because the theme was interesting. Isn't it have to do with an elevator?
Yes, like going up and down the elevator.
I was like, that is definitely a different kind of theme that you don't see in board games, which makes sense with what the mechanics are. But I was like, at least the mechanics are fitting the theme. So, all right, let's move on to our number 8.
My number 8 is a bit of a nostalgic choice.
Okay.
This is Above and Below Haunted from Red Raven Games. Basically, this is a standalone sequel to Above and Below.
I think it's right there.
Which you probably
can't
see because I am sitting here. But apparently it's the 10th anniversary of Above and Below from Red Raven Games. And this game has some of the same foundational game mechanics as Above and Below, but it adds new things like ghosts who can come haunt your buildings and tiles. It has boat tokens which can help you mitigate your rolls. There are dangerous caves, so different levels of caves, adventure cards. There are a few other things, but I have fond memories of playing Above and Below. I feel like it was one of the first adventure book type games that we played. Definitely. Where you go and see what happens and make the choices. Yeah. Obviously there have been a lot more published since then, but that's my nostalgic pick, Above and Below Haunted.
Well, your company, Red Raven Games, we are very familiar with. The game that I've chosen, Outset Media is publishing a game called Guildlands. I'm not familiar with them at all.
Oh, so opposite spectrum. Yeah, opposite. A new to us company.
So this game, Guildlands, is for 2 to 6 players, and plays about 45 to 90 minutes. So the 6 player count, so maybe it'll be good. This is a tile laying game.
I love tile laying games.
And also you're building a city in this, so it I will say right off I was like, is this Carcassonne? Just like some of the things that are going on, but I don't believe it is. There is some variable player count going on in this game.
Player powers, I think you meant to say.
Thank you. Player powers. Which I enjoy. That just gives a little bit, like, what you're doing is a little different than what the other players are doing. So I like that in games. And it seems like there's different goals that you're trying to accomplish. So it seems like a pretty simple game, but I enjoy tile laying games, city building games, Guildlands. Let's go on to our number 7. Garfield Games is putting out a game called The Anarchy. Now, most of Garfield games, I would say, are on the heavier side, with like a lot more things going on in the game, a lot more thinking. This one, though, Shem Phillips is not the main designer of the game. He usually designs a lot of the games that he publishes. This one's from Bobby Hill, and this one sort of maybe looks like Hadrian's Wall a little bit.
Yeah, it looked like it might have sheets, kind of like Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah, this is for 1 to 4 players. Takes about 60 to 90 minutes to play. So maybe on the shorter end for some of those games. The theme is maybe one of the things that brought me into it. We're Anglophiles. We like the English history going on, and this one is set in 1135. So really early in the English history. Who's going to rule? King Henry I just died in the game, and one of the I think one of the daughters is trying to gain the crown, but then another, I think Stephen is actually the one that gets it, and your job as one of the nobles in the game is trying to stamp down the anarchy in the game so that you can allow Stephen to rightfully claim the crown. So.
Yeah. Sounds interesting. My number 7 is very different than that. It is Forest Shuffle Dartmoor from Flat Out Games. So this is a standalone Forest Shuffle game. It has similar mechanics as the original Forest Shuffle, but you're in a new region. And it does have new mechanics as well. Terrain cards, which you play horizontally on your board, and species interact with those cards in different ways. So, you don't want deer near the peat bogs and stuff like that. So I thought that could be an interesting twist to the game. Forest Shuffle is something that we've played quite a bit with our group of friends.
There's a lot of expansions out for that one already,
So, yeah, it sounded like it could be an interesting, since it's not an expansion, an interesting twist on the Forest Shuffle game. All right, let's move to number 6. For number 6, I am sticking with kind of cozy, lighter games for my pick for this one. It is Koi from DV Games. This is the same team that made the game Bonsai.
Oh, okay.
The trees. Well, in this game, you are creating a koi pond, and it has 3D elements that you can put into your pond. Cool. Like little cardboard standees that you're placing around for different scoring elements. And when I looked at it and saw the pictures online, I just thought it would have a really good table presence, and playing about 45 minutes for 1 to 4 players, so something that's going to be somewhat casual, and I think people will really enjoy this one.
Well, mine is called Last Lantern from Wonderful World Board Games. This is for 2 to 4 players. It takes about a half hour to play. What drew me in was not just the theme, but I like polyomino games.
Me too.
So I'm surprised I chose this over you, but...
I don't think I actually saw it, or maybe I didn't notice it when I was going through the BGG list.
So we've talked about some tile placement games. This is you're laying tiles, but it's not just square tiles. These are polyomino, which means they're Tetris-like tiles that you're laying down. Now, this game is cooperative, so in this 2 to 4 player game, you are working together to lay these tiles down, sort of like they say there's a fog, and you're trying to place them in the right place at the right time. The game says there's you're limited in how you communicate to your fellow players, so I don't know what that all means. Does it mean silent, or does that mean you just can't talk about certain things? Don't know exactly what that means on what you can and cannot communicate, but they said there are ways in this 9-round game. So it seems like pretty short on the game round. It's like there's a specific number of rounds and the game's over. So depending on how you do with where you're laying those tiles. Seems pretty interesting. And, polyomino tiles. So.
Sold me.
Let's move to number 5. My number 5 is Paper World from Pandasaurus Games. This is for 2 to 4 players. It takes about 15 minutes to play. So this is a small box card game coming from Pandasaurus. What you're doing, seems like the rules are really simple. You're either on your turn going to take a card, or you're going to place a card into your own personal landscape. And what you're trying to do is get the best landscape that has, I think what they're saying, you're trying to collect stars. So at the end of the game, you're counting up all the stars in your landscape and seeing who wins that way. So it seems pretty simple, but I'm sure there's some strategy going on and how that all works in your...
Okay. Well, I chose a different Pandasaurus card game for this slot.
Okay.
I chose Tricky Kids, and this is for 2 to 6 players. Plays in about 30 minutes. It's a trick-taking game. I enjoy trick-taking games.
Definitely.
Lots of different, plays on trick-taking that have been coming out in recent years. Well, this one, your cards have no value on them at the beginning, and you write the values onto your cards. And I believe the combined value has to equal 21.
On your cards.
On the cards in your hands.
21, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.
And then you are playing tricks, and I think there are certain times that you want to win tricks and times that you don't.
Okay.
So it seemed like there's going to be some interesting scoring and strategy in this game, and it was just intriguing to me. How is that all going to work? I don't know. That's why it's anticipated. So let's go to number 4. So Kevin and I synced up on number 4 and have the same game in this slot. It is 12 Rivers from Good Games Publishing.
Yeah.
This is for 2 to 4 players, plays in about an hour, and it kind of has a fun toy factor to it. You have these marbles, which are pearls in the game, and they're at the top, and they are going to be traveling down these paths, and you have to place your blocker tokens in certain places to be able to collect those marbles when they come down the board. So I thought that sounded very interesting.
And you're placing them in on your player boards, which are like different animals, like llamas.
That is cute. The llama.
And the other thing that sort of jumped off the page for me looking at this game was the multi-use cards. So you have this hand management going on. I enjoy strategy in having things like the cards in your hand and how am I going to use the cards in order to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish in the game. So that's one of the big things that jumped off the page. Yes, the toy factor does look really cool. So Good Games Publishing, they do good games.
Yes, they do.
So I'm glad they have a good name for their good games publishing.
So same game, both of us for number 4.
Yeah.
We're going to move to number 3.
My number 3 is The Crew Family Adventure from Cosmos. We're big fans of The Crew. They've had 2 different versions out right now, which was the Search for Planet X, and then there's also Deep Sea. So both of those we really enjoyed. The co-op nature of the trick-taking game. Melissa mentioned our love of trick-taking games. When you combine that with trying to work together to complete missions, very enjoyable. I think I like the sea one just a little bit better than the...
Yeah, I like the way that they did the missions in that one.
So this one has, like they say, a Swiss Family Robinson feel to it. You are trying to work together, like the other ones in this team game, and you find yourselves on a deserted island, and you have to find your way around together, eating, sleeping, and making decisions. Now, in the other games, you really were just playing cards. This looks like there's more to the game itself. I'm not sure if the box is bigger, but it seems like there's more in the box with tiles and maybe campsites and other things that you're trying to do to accomplish. So we'll see if this one...
Yeah, I wonder if, since it's billed as a family game, if it's going to be a little easier. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope it'd be harder, but probably not. That's okay. What you got?
So my number 3 is Solar Gardens from Darrington Press. This is a tile laying game for 2 to 5 players that plays in about 40 minutes, and you're basically building this garden and solar panels on a rooftop. So kind of trying to help the environment by how you're laying your tiles, and there's lots of different scoring by having things next to each other, like most tile laying games. One of the things that I thought was intriguing, though, is how you draft the tiles.
Okay.
So basically, if you're the first player, you're going to have a stack of tiles that is the number of players plus 1. I pick one tile up, top tile, I look at it. I decide, am I going to keep this tile, or do I pass it to the next player? not having looked at any of the other tiles in that stack. So if I pass it to Kevin, Kevin now decides, does he want to keep it or does he pass it to the next player? Okay. And so I thought that was an interesting interaction between players.
A little bit of push your luck going on, a little bit of,
is something better going to come or do I take what's here
I
now?
guess this game would be better after you've played it a number of times.
When you know the types of tiles and what might be coming out. Yeah. But anyway, I thought especially the drafting looked interesting in Solar Gardens.
Let's move to number 2. So we synced up again for this one, our number 2. This is Lightning Train. This is coming from Dire Wolf. This is 1 to 4 player game that takes about 1 to 2 hours to play. Now, initially, when I was looking at this game, I was like, oh, another train game. But then as I was looking more and more at this game, I was like, it's not just about building your routes. There's some bag building going on. So, that's intriguing to me. What kind of actions are you going to get? How are you going to build the routes? What kind of actions are going to help you build those routes? So maybe a little bit more, I'm not sure luck involved, but maybe there's a little bit more strategy in how you build your bag and how that actually works itself out in playing the game.
Yeah, and I would say that the designer, same designer as Clank.
Yeah, which you really like.
I do really enjoy Clank, probably more than you do. But
this might be more this might be a little bit more involved than Clank, because Clank's really simple in what you're doing. You're moving around, collecting things. This is maybe a step up. It appears there's more going on.
Yeah, it seemed interesting, and the designer, the company is known for making good games, quality games. So I'm confident that they have done a good job with this one.
All right. Well, let's move on to our number 1. Before we get into our number 1, don't stop watching the video because we have a whole another 2 categories to go through.
Yeah, so many games to talk about.
So, what's our number 1 in this category?
So, our number 1 anticipated game is Kronologic Cuzco 1450 from Super Meeple. And this is a basically second standalone in a game that we have already played and loved, which is Kronologic
1920.
Paris.
Yeah, Paris 1920.
This is a deduction game where you're trying to solve the mystery.
There hasn't been any deduction games that I know of. I mean, there probably are our Gen Con release, but this is the one that really stood out to me.
So basically, you are trying to solve a mystery, which usually involves knowing where someone was at a specific time, so the location and the time, and you figure that out by interrogating suspects. And when you do that, you'll get some secret information just for yourself, but also public information that everyone knows. So with each time that you take your turn, you're potentially also helping the other players put everything together.
What I liked about the Kronologic, the deduction part definitely, but there was 3 sort of different mysteries going on. There was like the Phantom of the Opera one
for this one.
So I'm hoping that the Cuzco one, poison for Cuzco, Cuzco poison. I'm hoping that one has that same sort of like not only different scenarios that you can play, but also difficulty levels, because that also was in here, which I appreciate. I was like, we want to play a little bit on the easier side, or we want to try and be really difficult. I liked that, and I'm hoping that the Cuzco.
It's probably a very similar mechanic.
But I hope there's I hope there's a twist in the new version. Like, are they going to change something about how you are interrogating or what you're doing in the game? So maybe the mechanics are just a little updated, or maybe there's something additional added.
Right. Now, should say that once you play each scenario, there is a fixed answer. So you could play them again if you have enough time in between it. But this one had 3 main scenarios, and then I think there were 5 specific missions in each of them. So.
We have not played this in a little bit, so I bet you we could easily play these all over again.
Right, and because the solutions are fairly similar, so even if it was starting to feel familiar,
it was a detective.
It would be like, oh, but was it this one in here, or was it that one in there? So,
Cool. Well, that was our top 10 most anticipated games that we haven't played. Let's move into our next category, top most anticipated games that we have played.
So these are some games that we have already played that are on the Gen Con list. Kevin said they were anticipated, but we've already played them. So I would say that these are recommendations.
Okay.
How does that sound?
Highly recommend.
And the first one in that category is Vantage from Stonemaier Games. MeepleSource is going to have some copies of this at Gen Con. Now, we've done a playthrough video and a review video.
Yeah, so we didn't spend a lot of time, but this is for 1 to 6 players. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to play, although you could literally spend an hour playing this and be like, I'm done. Or you can spend longer than 3 hours. This really depends on how you want to play, because this game is all about the exploration. How much do I want to explore? How far am I going to go? Am I going to explore and finish the mission quickly, or am I never going to find the mission? I think it's more, do I enjoy the exploration than am I going to try to complete the mission?
It's more about the journey than the destination.
Right. And if you watched our review video, we personally recommend this at the 3 or 4 player count, or lower, but I don't, unless you are wanting a longer game, the higher player count is definitely going to make that game even longer.
Yeah, and if your group really enjoys experiencing the other people's stories, I also think 5 and 6 players would be fine if they really want that camaraderie of what's going on with the other players.
So, Vantage, we didn't really talk about the game itself, but you are crash landing on a planet. You have your own vantage that you're looking at. No one else can see it, but you can explain to other people what you're looking at, and you're exploring that card, doing different things. Very simple to play, simple to set up, get into the game. There's a lot of things going for that streamlined exploration game. So, Vantage.
All right.
Let's move on to our next one.
Our next recommended game is Shackleton Base, A Journey to the Moon. Now, the U.S. distributor for this is going to be Pandasaurus Games, but the game has been available in Europe.
Okay.
This game was interesting with workers that have different uses or powers, different types of workers. So if I play a certain color, I'm doing an action associated with that worker as opposed to another worker. So I liked that aspect of the worker placement in Shackleton Base.
What I liked is the different corporations, so it makes the game unique, or not say unique, but more variable from game to game. So those corporations give you different goals you're going after, different things that are happening, that even actions that you can take on in those corporations, which I find interesting to mix those up from game to game to see how that will affect your strategy. The workers, yes, I thought they were okay, but I think what I really thought was, how are those corporations going to impact my ability to figure out how to win?
Because during setup, you choose 3 corporations to play with, and like Kevin was saying, it completely changes the goals of the game and certain actions and interactions. And even if, I've played this corporation before, but now it's paired with something else, there could be lots of different strategies to get those high scores. So that is Shackleton Base. It's 1 to 2 hours, so more on your mid to upper midweight Euro game.
Our next game on this list is Tag Team. This is from Scorpion Masque. This is a 2-player only game. Now, I think you probably saw for most of the games that we recommended or anticipated, I think they were more than 2 players.
Yeah, we don't normally play 2 players.
Right, but Scorpion Masque sent us a copy of this one, and I was pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed this 2-player fighting game.
Yeah, definitely not something that if I would see, oh, it's a 2-player head-to-head battle card fighting game, for me, I'd be like, nope, and move on.
Yeah. So what you're doing in this game is there are 12 fighters in the box. Each fighter has its own unique deck of cards. You're choosing 2 of those fighters. You're mixing their decks together. You're then programming your deck by choosing some cards, putting them in your fight deck, and then you are fighting simultaneously your opponent.
So kind of like war. You're both flipping a card at the same time.
And then at the end of the round, you reset your deck. You don't rearrange your cards, but then you're grabbing another card, choosing another card, and you're placing it on the top, the bottom, or in between 2 cards. Therefore, you're never like mixing your cards up, but you are sort of programming your deck. So it's this programming, it's got this deck building aspect to it, and then the twist with how you are adding cards to the deck and then trying to basically defeat your opponent.
Yeah, so I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was very interesting trying to figure out where to place the cards. All of the characters are very different with how they play and attack each other.
Yep,
so
different ones.
In one round, if Kevin and I had 2 shield cards that came up at the same time, I'm thinking, well, how can I
Mix the order.
Mix the order so I'm shielded when he's attacking me and that sort of thing. But of course, he could potentially insert something
because you secretly add the card to the deck. Now, the game itself starts with 12 different fighters, but in the box there was this little piece of paper that had Tag Team 2026 and had this sword
in a stone.
In a stone. So I'm assuming
that there might be future fighters and expansions. Fighters. So this is from the same group as Sky Team. Another 2-player game. That one's cooperative. This one's definitely competitive, but very interesting, and that's probably saying something coming from someone who doesn't normally like these types of games.
I think we have one more in this category.
Okay, so our last recommendation for games we've already played is Ice and Idols from Inside Up Games. We played a prototype of this before it went onto crowdfunding. This is for 2 to 4 players, plays in about an hour, and basically your characters are on this grid with...
Ice grid.
Ice and different walls and sections, and you are playing... Was it cards or something to basically move things around? So the layout is changing all the time and you're trying to achieve certain goals and basically pick up and deliver, but the terrain and landscape keeps changing as you're trying to move through this grid of ice.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. I think you have to be okay with a little bit of let's say luck, a little bit of
chaos. Maybe?
There, a little bit of chaos, which I think Inside Up Games likes a little chaos in their games. So it's
definitely an interactive game because things that I do potentially could affect other players if we're nearby each other.
Or intentionally.
True, yes. You could do some things.
You can definitely check our playthrough out to see how the game plays Ice and Idols.
That is from Inside Up Games.
Let's move on to our last category, our honorable mentions. All right, for our last category, these are our honorable mentions. So we had a lot of games in the other 2 categories, but we thought there are other games out there that we think people will really enjoy. They just didn't make it into our top other lists. So these are our honorable mentions, and there's 3 of them. And we're going to start with the first one, which is the Battle of Hoth. So this is a
Star Wars Battle of Hoth.
This game is sort of in the Memoir 44 game mechanics. So if that is, I don't even know when Memoir 44 came out, but it's definitely on the older side from Asmodee. It's a 2-player sort of war game, and they've taken that sort of game system and they've made the Battle of Hoth sort of fit that game system.
Now, Battle of Hoth is 2 to 4 players.
Ooh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah, and it says it uses the Command and Colors system, which may have also been in Memoir 44.
Yeah.
So kind of a battle reenactment, I think, is what I think of when I think of Memoir 44 and recreating battles. So now you can do that in the Star Wars universe with the Battle of Hoth.
Right. Well, what's our other honorable mention?
So the next one is Ace of Spades from DeVere. And this is a either single-player game or you can play it two-player co-op. So that's one of the reasons why it didn't really pop into our top.
One or two player. Interesting. I've heard this has definitely been on a lot of other people's lists.
I've heard people loosely compare it to something like Balatro.
Oh, okay. That's a very popular online game.
So it uses poker mechanics. So you are creating poker hands to then resolve dangerous duels. This is what it says on BGG, against the worst spawns from hell.
Okay.
So there are these monsters that are coming out, and you are using poker hands and things like that to defeat them. So
you may be, like the co-op game, you're still trying to beat the game. Okay, interesting.
But yeah, I find games that use poker or other game systems within them to be interesting.
As long as you don't have to play poker.
As long as I don't have to bluff and bid.
That's right.
So, love the gang, you know.
Yeah.
Poker cooperative.
Our last game in the honorable mention category is, we actually played Horrified, Dungeons and Dragons. Now, Horrified's, I think there's like 4 or 5 other versions. There was the original Horrified that had Frankenstein monster. It had Dracula. So Ravensburger's putting out a new game with the Dungeons and Dragons theme. You get to play as the different characters.
Wizard, cleric, rogue.
I guess classes, the different classes. You could choose one of those. There's 5 different ones, like a bard that you can choose. They all have their own special powers that you're using in order to defeat the different monsters. So you have the Beholder, you have the Red Dragon, you have the Mimic, and you're choosing a number of monsters in the game, and you're trying to
cooperatively
work together as a team to try and fight the monsters. And you win if you're able to defeat them. You lose if you don't.
So the interesting thing about this one compared to the other games and thematic is the use of a D20, and you use that in multiple ways during the game, but one of the main uses is for your character card. One of your actions can be to roll the D20 and its result will give you different special actions for your character.
I did mention this plays up to 5 players. We have played at 5. I would say it does maybe bog the game down a little bit. So I think I would recommend this at the 3, maybe 4 player count. But 3 players was actually pretty good for us. I would say some of the class cards, the different, like the wizard or
some of them had
the fighter,
better powers than others in our estimation, or more fun to play.
Yeah, maybe more fun to play. So as you're rolling the D20, you're like, I want to get usually their ranges, I want to get 16 to 19, or I want to get that 20. So I think you're trying, as you're playing the different class cards, I think that's enjoyable for people, especially if you enjoy the Dungeons and Dragons theme. So,
right. Wow. So we did games we were anticipating, games we recommend that we've played, a couple honorable mentions,
3.
And there's a BGG list, Gen Con preview list. There's hundreds of games on there. There are lots of other great games from great companies that we didn't mention. If you're going to Gen Con, let us know what you're excited about. Or maybe after you come back, what hidden gems did you find? You can see Will and Sarah will be at Gen Con a lot of times at the Genius Games booth. So definitely say hi to them if you see them. And thank you for watching.
Please like and subscribe.